Hey everyone, this is Vintage Poke Openings once again with another Friday video for you guys. This time we're going to be doing something a little bit different today. We're actually going to be replacing the battery in this Pokemon Gold game. And if you played the Pokemon games back in the day like I did, you probably cracked them out on occasion to play them. I've been doing that here and there throughout the course of the past year. And strangely enough, all of my brother and I's Generation 1 games still save. All of our Generation 3 games still save, but for whatever reason, all of the Gen 2 games do not. So Gold, Silver, and Crystal, none of them will retain a save file for me. And I don't know if that's something unique to Generation 2 games or if we just got unfortunate, but anyway, today I'm going to be showing you guys how you can change the battery in this game without having to do any soldering. It's a relatively simple process. So this is my brother's Pokemon Gold game, which is why it says Carson on the back. And the materials that you're going to need to do this is, first and foremost, you're going to need or want what's called a Nintendo Game Bit. And that's what this is right here. So I purchased this on Amazon for about $5, I believe. And these were 2 bits that are used to basically unscrew anything Nintendo Game Boy related, GameCube related. I think it even worked on some of the other systems like Super Nintendo and whatnot. But you can see how they look. They're not like a screwdriver. They're like a bit, as you can see. Kind of has like an octagonal look to it. So one is 3.8 and one is 4.5. You might be able to see that on the sides there. We're going to be using the 3.8 today, and that's going to be used to actually open the game cartridge. So in addition to that, you're going to need some electrical tape, which we've got here. You're going to need some basic materials like scissors, for example. And the other thing you're going to need is this CR 2025 3-volt lithium battery. So these old Game Boy games, they used an actual battery as opposed to flash memory to save your save files. So that's what we're going to be using to replace the battery today. I also got this on Amazon for about $5. It came with 2 sheets of them. So I think it came with 10 lithium batteries. So if I want to replace my silver and my crystal, I can do that as well. I also have this little screwdriver here, and I've got 2 of them actually. They both are from, I believe, Glasses repair kits. I'll probably end up using the shorter one because it looks a little bit stronger, but we're going to have to use this to take the brackets off of the battery once we get inside the cartridge. So once again, a game bit, electrical tape, some kind of very, very small screwdriver, scissors, and the CR 2025 3-volt lithium battery. Now, you don't necessarily need to get this game bit. I know some people, like my friend Nick, I believe he used maybe some sort of very small pliers to open this, but it's a lot more difficult to do it that way, and I've heard of people damaging their cartridge, so we're just going to use the game bit. And I'm going to set it down here. I don't have a handle for it, so and once we get the screw off here, there's just a slide mechanism that is used to take the back of the game off. All right, I'll put that over there and make sure I don't lose it. And as you can see here, all I have to do is just slide it up, or slide it down, I suppose. And there is the inside of the cartridge. So that's the motherboard. And then this circular object here with the yellow ring around it is the battery that we're going to be replacing today. And this is a, goodness, I think these games came out in 2000. So this is a 21-year-old battery at this point. They weren't really meant to last more than 10 to 15 years, which is why I'm having to replace it. But it's a lot cheaper alternative to get these materials and fix it yourself if you can, as opposed to buying a refurbished copy online, for example. So the tricky part about this is going to be, I'm going to have to use this small screwdriver to basically break this little prong off here. And I don't mean break it off, but basically release it from the battery. So that's really the toughest part of this whole process. And I'm going to very gently do that. And this is where, if you were using the soldering method, you would have to solder this piece back on. But I don't know how to do that. I don't have the soldering tools, and there's ways to not have to do that. So we're just going to do it this way. So I went ahead and sped this part up for you guys just because it took me a while to release the prong from the battery. There are these two soldering points on it. And the first one I was able to pop off pretty easy, but the second one was a little bit tricky. You can see I zoomed in for you guys, and you can see that the prong is kind of bending as I'm trying to break it from the battery, or release it from the battery, I should say. And this was actually trickier than I thought it was going to be. This was probably the trickiest part of the repair. As you can see there, I'm kind of working at it. It's tough because you're trying to apply the appropriate amount of torque while also not damaging the motherboard. You know, you're working on such a small, fragile object. So it was kind of tricky. But harder than trying to break the top prong off was actually trying to release the battery from the prong that was underneath. You can see there I'm trying to dig under and break the soldering points, but it's really tough because I can't really see where my screwdriver is going. I'm just kind of fumbling around in the dark down there. All right, so as you can see, we've got the battery out here. Took a little bit of work. I think this is probably a little bit too small of a screwdriver for the job, but you can see that you've got this top prong and you've got this bottom prong here. And the battery is going to sit between that, and the tape's going to go under that as well. So I'm going to just do my best to try and flatten this out if I can. All right, so let's get our electrical tape. You'll need about 2 inches here. I went ahead and fast forwarded this part for you guys as well, just because it took me a little bit of time to get the electrical tape within the 2 prongs there. I want to point out that the electrical tape should go under the bottom prong. So the bottom prong should be touching the battery as well as the top prong, obviously. So I just wanted to point that out there as we're fast forwarding through this. All right, so this is the positive side. This one's going to go face down. So you can see here, lastly, I'm just wrapping the tape back over the battery. Both the top and the bottom prongs are snugly packed against the battery. And I just used these really small scissors to snip off some of the excess tape. I didn't want it touching the motherboard or getting in anything else in the cartridge. So I just snipped off kind of the spare pieces, pulled them away. So there's a nice, snug, tight fit of the electrical tape around the battery. You can see I'm checking it out, make sure that it's fastened in appropriately. And just like how we used the slide mechanism to open the cartridge, I'm going to use the slide mechanism to pop the top back on the cartridge. And once I've got that done, I'm going to go ahead and put the screw back in the cartridge and use the game bit to screw it back in. So thanks for watching, guys. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions. Thanks, and have a great Friday.